Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream, and I hope everyone is doing well. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be talking about using your voice. Now, on that note, I hope you can hear me, and I want to welcome everybody again to the live stream. Okay, so let me go ahead and make sure that you got, let's see. Okay, just checking everything. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started, okay, for the sake of time, because actually, not to sound like I'm rushing, but I'm not going to be able to stay on very long tonight, okay? All right. So give it your voice, right? Give it your voice. Okay. All right. So silent treatments and gaslight techniques, as well as rage tactics, are all designed to keep you under control. Okay, so the first part of this is going to be about the ultimate silent treatment. Okay, so a lot of you who have seen my videos on the silent treatment, there are a few components that are going on. Now, you're dealing with covert narcissism. This is one of the things that is the ultimate silent treatment. So, what's going on? The narcissist is actually getting source supply by covert means. Okay, so what does that mean? They may be doing underhanded things. They may be trying to look good on the outside, right? But on the inside or behind closed doors, they acting like the devil. Okay, so when a person is a covert narcissist, they tend to like to, it's, image is everything. They like to look good in public, but behind closed doors, they just let it all hang out. But unfortunately, when they deliver a silent treatment, what is going on is that you may be emotionally manipulated to keep their dark, dirty secret. What is the dark, dirty secret? And that is that they are treating or mistreating you, perhaps other people as well. But on the outside, right, they look like angels. Okay, so it's kind of hard to feel like you can use your voice and speak against that, especially when it seems like that person is a good person to everyone else. It's kind of like you're having a surreal moment. You're looking at everybody, looking at your narcissist, and everybody is doting on the narcissist. Everybody is so thinking that they're praising your narcissist. And how do you then use your voice and say, hey, wait a minute, this is not what's going on. This person doesn't treat me very well. But it's hard to prove that, especially when your narcissist has convinced everyone that they're an angel. Okay, so this is why I'm bringing this up, because using your voice sometimes can seem a little scary, especially when you're accustomed to not using it, because you're in a narcissist relationship or you have been in a narcissist relationship. So covert narcissism is the ultimate silent treatment. All right. Okay. Don't start messing up on me now. Okay, so what's the next one? Telekinesis. Telekinesis is when the narcissist is attempting to alter your sense of time. They can't alter time, okay? They're altering the sense of time, of your time, as well as your reality. Okay, so how do they do that? That means that they may start to gaslight you, whereas you are then questioning not only your reality, right, but your sanity. Okay, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. Some of you have actually experienced this. The narcissist will attempt to pull a telekinesis. In other words, they will attempt to alter your sense of time in reality. That way you will question what's actually going on in the relationship. You will question whether or not you should defend yourself when they're insulting you or when they're mistreating you. Again, therefore, you're not using your voice. So when they're pulling the telekinesis and they're altering your sense of time and reality, the other thing that more than likely will do will make the confidence, or the self-esteem. They would both take a hit. Therefore, using your voice or having the confidence to use a voice, right, may go down. So a telekinesis is when the narcissist is trying to, they're attempting to alter your sense of time and or reality. That way you may not feel as confident to speak out against what he or she is doing. Okay, so if we're thinking about some superheroes, right? Some of them have the ability to be telepathic or telekinesis. Okay, so this is what that is. It's like you are able to telekinesis is when somebody can use their mind, right, to move something. Okay, but in this case, when we're talking about a narcissist, when they apply the gaslighting technique, they are attempting to alter your sense of time and reality. Therefore, you may question what is real, what's fantasy. When they start making promises and they're not keeping them, right? This also can mean that you may question what's real, what's not. Are they real? Are they not real? Do they mean what they say? Do they not mean what they say? All of these mixed signals. So this is why I say one of the components of the silent treatment is telekinesis. They may try to alter your sense of time and reality. All right, let's move on. The third component is this smear campaign. Actually, there's four components. The third one is smear campaigning. So when a narcissist doesn't like something you do or say, and they're not getting away, right? The other thing they may do is they may try to tell somebody that you're not a good person. Okay? They may start to whisper in other people's ears, right? That and giving them a false narrative of you. First, the narcissist, sometimes they will create a false image of everyone that they are obtaining source supply from. Next, what they may do is they begin to or they will flip the script. They will write the script. In other words, they will have false narratives of those that they are obtaining source supply from. So if they are telling others that you are one way when you're actually another, this may put a dent in your confidence to speak up. Okay, so because you may feel like, okay, everybody's looking at you sideways, everybody's looking at you funny, because your narcissist may have painted a picture of you that's just not reflective of reality. So they may try to smear campaign you in order to not only have control over you or attempt to have control over you, but to also maintain that control because you are not using your voice. You're not speaking up. Now, I'm not scolding anyone, but I just want to point out how narcissists can use that as an intimidation tactic. Therefore, the victims may, or it depends on the person, but they may not feel as confident to speak out against how they're experiencing the relationship with the narcissist. I mean, often. So the next component of the ultimate silent treatment is when the narcissist claims narcissistic injury. Okay, so pretty much in a nutshell, it's like the narcissist injury, right, or the narcissistic injury, their injury versus your experiencing injustice in the narcissist relationship. So it's kind of like he say, she say, or your word against theirs. And this is often how the narcissist likes to paint the big picture for everybody on the outside looking in. So that way, again, you look like you're the one capping. You're going to look like the one who is, not quite right. I'll just put it that way, right? But the bottom line is this. All of this is designed to keep you from using your voice and speaking up about injustices that you are experiencing. Once you start to express what you're experiencing, the narcissist often will get busy on exploiting your capacity or your ability to do so. Once again, trying to shut you down, trying to make sure you don't use your voice. It's very hard when you're in certain situations with a narcissist and you may want to tell, but let's just say, for instance, you have told several people, but nothing has happened. Okay? Again, this is just an example. Say you've told somebody you trusted that you're going through something with a narcissist, right? Okay, that person at first, they may not believe you, right? But just by chance, he or she may see something or hear something that the narcissist does or says, and it doesn't set right in their gut. This happens sometimes, by the way. This is why I'm giving this example. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, that's a rare thing that happens. Okay, perhaps. But just think about it. Sometimes people that, they listen to their gut, they listen to their intuition. When a narcissist is doing something or saying something, believe it or not, some people, they look at that, or they hear something a narcissist said, and it's like, wait a minute, that's not right. And it registers with him or her later on down the line that the narcissist, right, they said something or they did something that wasn't quite right. But at the moment when they heard it or they saw it, they didn't think nothing of it. Okay, they just didn't think of anything of it. But because you have been using your voice, you have been expressing what you have been experiencing, then see, somebody else can come along and be like, you know what, yeah, I remember, the narcissist saying this or that, or they did such and such. Yeah, it might have been 6 months ago, but yeah, I remember that. Okay, now I did a video recently, and I was talking about how the narcissists, sometimes they will do and say things, they will pull shenanigans, and what they are not aware of is that sometimes those who are being hurt by him or her, they keep a diary, right? They journal. That's another way of expressing what they're experiencing. Now, they may not be vocal about it, but they're still using their voice. They're just putting it pen to pad. Their thoughts are on paper. They're expressing what they're experiencing, right? They may take a tape recorder and they may speak on it, but it's just for them. They leave it private. Now, what I'm getting at is that sometimes when people gain that confidence, right, to use their voice, it can pay off later. It may take a little while, right? But it may pay off later because, again, this is a process. When people go through narcissistic abuse or narcissistic relationships, it is a process, right? To get over it or to grow past it or to thrive forward. It's a process. It takes time. So when you're right in the thick of it, it is very hard to, it's not impossible, but it's a little bit challenging, sometimes a lot challenging for some people to go ahead and just use the voice and keep on practicing using the voice. So when a narcissist says or does something, you're saying, wait a minute, I don't like that. Or they did this or they did that. Even if you have to start journaling and recording everything that you're experiencing, that's just another way that you're using your voice. You are expressing what you are experiencing. See, narcissists are very threatened by that. They don't want people to express what they experience because that's going to put them on the spot. You never know who saw something or who heard something that the narcissist did or said that later down the line is like, wait a minute, that wasn't right. Or that didn't, because it didn't set right with them at the time. They may have brushed it off at that moment, but later on, because you kept talking, because you kept using your voice, you never know who else has seen something, they have heard something, and they may give their voice to it too. You never know. The narcissists often like people to just shut up and take it. Okay, they like them to just go ahead and just be quiet, take all the blows, don't talk about what happened, just don't say anything. Unfortunately, the narcissist is under delusions of grandeur because very often they have a strong sense of entitlement. They think that they have the right to go ahead and treat people the way that they do, yet they don't perceive, right? Or they don't anticipate what's going to come afterwards, the consequences, the aftermath, or some people will say karma, right? So they don't think about that very much. But when you start to practice using your voice, that's very powerful. And it can be a game changer for you, and it can be a game over for your narcissist. Okay, now, what I'm speaking about here, this is not just personal. This is also professional, because some people deal with those who have a cluster B personality type, in the workforce. All right, so consider what influences you to be uncomfortable with being yourself. So, okay, this is part 2. Getting to the root cause of fearing your voice, okay? Because sometimes when we're in narcissist relationships, okay, let's just face it, a person can become accustomed to not using their voice. Therefore, they may even have an identity crisis. They may not really be certain about who they are. Well, especially outside of the narcissist relationship. When you're actively having a narcissist relationship, and I'm speaking from experience, you can get lost in the sauce. It's hard to remember sometimes who you are. Sometimes it's hard to even want to find out. You may not be in the mood to find out because you're dealing with sadness, you're dealing with anger. Then you may not want to manage your anger. Some people don't, they talk about it, they use their voice, but then a lot of people start believing the narcissist instead of them. Okay? So some people, they may just give up, unfortunately, and they may just drown out in the background of a narcissist relationship. They may dwarf in a narcissist relationship. They may even start to just not use their voice at all. So they're silent. So then it's kind of like they are a phantom ghost in a relationship. They're a ghost, or they're a phantom, or they are somebody who disappears in the relationship. And the narcissist, unfortunately, they see that as a gain for them. Okay, because now they can do whatever they feel, they can do whatever they want. They already have a strong sense of entitlement. So when you fear using your own voice, unfortunately, it works to the advantage of the narcissist. Okay, so fear, so getting down to the root cause of fearing using your own voice. Okay, so it's not about if the narcissist agrees with your experiences, but it's about your ability to tell the truth about what you've experienced. Okay, so critical question: are you afraid of disapproval? Many of us who have had narcissist relationships, okay, we may cringe when we think about this or when we say this now, but we did care about what the narcissist thought of us. We wanted the validation, okay? We wanted the love, the respect, and the whole nine, okay? So, as far as like disapproval from the narcissist, sometimes this can be really a thing that is so painful that we can't really fathom. And then, I'm just speaking in general here. This may not resonate with you, but when a person is in a narcissist relationship, believe it or not, okay, for those who may be trying to learn about what it's like to be in a narcissist relationship, a person can be so fixated on pleasing the narcissist that they will sacrifice themselves. Okay, and this goes right into not using their voice. Okay, just experiencing that relationship, but not being vocal about what they're experiencing. And not only that, not even defending themselves against the narcissist. So if the narcissist says or does something, they don't want to hurt the narcissist. They don't want to step on the narcissist's toes. So instead, they will walk on eggshells. They will just swallow back whatever they were going to say. They may feel that anger. It might be right in right in their throat, or it might be in the pit of their stomach, and it wants to come up. But that person is not saying anything. They're just hurting. They're angry. Okay, so that's where the mismanaged anger can come in. Because over time, that can happen. That anger can just build up. And if you're not vocal about what you're experiencing, in other words, you're not expressing it, what's going to happen? It's going to come out in one way or another. Okay, so when a person is in a narcissist relationship, what often happens is that he or she is so consumed by that relationship, in other words, getting lost in the sauce, that they not only not have a don't have a voice, but they don't have an identity. So it's kind of like they're fixated on the narcissist. It's kind of like they may have an obsessive personality. Unfortunately, some people do end up developing an obsessive personality. But some people who don't normally have that, they may look that way to onlookers or people on the outside looking in, which also may discourage him or her from using their voice because they're embarrassed or they're ashamed. Okay, they're in a narcissist relationship. Very often, the narcissist will project their shame onto others that they're getting supply from. That's part of the source supply. Just being able to throw things off, on other people and not really deal with their own stuff. In other words, a person who is a narcissistic personality, instead of them looking in the mirror and facing themselves and dealing with whatever they're, going through or whatever is unresolved from their past, they will just project it onto other people. And so what may happen is that other person who's on the receiving end, they not only may not use their voice, but they're going to perhaps feel shame. They're going to feel embarrassed. They're going to feel, it's kind of eerie when you think about it. It's almost like they're feeling what the narcissist has just blocked off. So the shame, the embarrassment, the guilt that the narcissist may normally feel is being thrown off onto somebody else. And when a person is dealing with all of that, they may not feel very confident using their voice. And then that may also turn into them fearing using their own voice. And it may be very hard to get down to the root cause of that. It could be their childhood, not just the narcissist. The narcissist is supposed to be dealing with that anyway. But a person who's on the receiving end or who is in a narcissistic relationship with him or her, they may end up not using their voice at all. And then they may not know why they fear using their voice. It may be social anxiety. It may be because when they were a child, they were timid. And it could be a lot of things. It could be because they have a history of being abused while growing up. It can be all kinds of things. But one of the things that I have found is when a person finds the root cause of something, that can be very powerful because they will know how to deal with it. It's kind of like I usually say, once you know how you got into the narcissist relationship, you'll know how to get out. Same thing. If you know the root cause of something, and this is what I've learned. Okay, so I'm just sharing. I've learned that once you know the root cause of something, you can better know how to handle it or to resolve it altogether. Another thing that I often say is when you become your best problem solver, but not your only problem solver, that's very powerful. That goes right into not being afraid to use your voice. How can someone help you if you're being silent? But if you use your voice and you ask for help, then you are a person at that time who is becoming their best problem solver, not their only problem solver. And that ties right into seeking wise counsel. The key word being wise. Some people, you just never know. You start talking, somebody can perhaps help you. And I'm sharing this from experience. Because when I first learned about the narcissistic stuff, I didn't want to talk about it at all. Okay? There's other things that I've experienced in my past. I didn't want to talk about it. And I didn't talk about it for a while. But when I started to use my voice, an amazing thing happened. And that was other people were willing to help me. Not everybody, but there were certain people that were willing to help me. Now, I would not have experienced that if I did not learn how to use my voice, if I wasn't even interested in at least trying to use my voice. Okay, so getting down to the root cause of why you may be afraid to use your voice is very powerful. Now, when a person may say they may go ahead and they may confront, well, that's not the right word. They may defend themselves, right, against the narcissist. The narcissist is saying something, they're doing something. So they may become vocal. The person may stand up to the narcissist, right? Not to be confrontational, but to defend themselves, to practice personal boundaries. See, it's not about if the narcissist agrees with what your experiences are in that relationship with him or her. It really is about you're telling the truth about what you've experienced. So telling the truth about it is very powerful as well. Just getting all, just practice using your voice is very powerful. But when you start to express what you have experienced, it doesn't matter if the other person agrees with every detail of your experiences. It's about your practicing using your voice. Okay, so therefore you will become a person who is accustomed to not only using your voice, but to expressing anything that may occur in a relationship. You may have a best friend and they may have, say for instance, they neglected to tell you something that was very important. Maybe you were up for a project, right? And that was a very important project and it could have made you some more money, right? Or you're in business or something and you were counting on your best friend to give you a piece of information, but they failed. Okay, so you may feel some kind of way about it, right? So what do? Do you keep it to yourself or do you become vocal about it? See, if you become vocal about it, that's your That's a way that you can express who you are. Okay, I don't want to jump ahead, right? But when you start practicing using your voice, you're actually teaching people more about yourself. People, you're opening yourself up to being known, not just to know somebody else. Okay, so unfortunately, with narcissists, it's not like that. It doesn't go down that way. First of all, they're not interested in the connection, they want the control. So they don't care about who you are. So that kind of goes hand in hand with being silent. They prefer you quiet and just to take it. Just sit, just shut up and sit down and take it. Right? So the narcissist, they don't care about who you are. They don't care where you've been, where you're going. Just as long as it supplies them, that's all they care about. Right? So when you get down to the root of why you may be afraid of using your own voice, again, it's very powerful. So never mind, if you confront your narcissist about something, or, I was saying that that's not a good word, confront, because that may sound like you're trying to, go head to head with them. And I wouldn't advocate that. I don't suggest that. I don't advise that. But, if you are defending yourself, right, you're just expressing what you're experiencing in that relationship to the narcissist. It doesn't matter if they agree with you or not. It doesn't matter if they trust you or not, because a lot of narcissists, they don't trust anybody anyway. A lot of people have trust issues. Okay, you don't have to be a narcissist to have trust issues, but we're talking about the narcissist right now, how they make it very difficult to even connect in a relationship, which that also can influence a person not to want to talk about it very much, because they're hurting, they're angry, maybe their self-esteem, maybe their confidence is taking a hit because they have been repeatedly let down. They've been repeatedly put down by the narcissist. Okay, because it tends to go hand in hand, double. The narcissist is putting you down, but then what comes right behind it is that they will let you down. Okay, so on one hand they're insulting, and on the other hand it's like they're thumbing their nose at you. They're making fun of you because they may think that you're a weak person. Okay, because you're still in the relationship with him or her, and they feel like they're getting away with all kinds of shenanigans, right? So again, they don't look at the aftermath. They don't look at the consequences of obtaining and maintaining narcissistic supply. They often salivate over the rewards of what they think they're going to get by having a narcissist relationship. But they usually have several narcissist relationships. But narcissists, they don't do healthy relationships anyway. They tend to do toxic relationships, or relationships whereas there's not any personal boundaries being practiced, which is another thing about using the voice. When you use your voice and when you're vocal about what you don't like, what you like, in the relationship, when you're vocal, when you're expressing what you're experiencing, that's another way of what? Practicing personal boundaries. That is also another way of practicing mindfulness, because you're being mindful of what the narcissist is doing, where they are in the relationship, or where you stand with him or her, how you're experiencing. It's just mindfulness. You're aware of what's going on. You're not going to know everything, of course. But when you are aware of where you are in your own life, instead of trying to please the narcissist, that's very powerful. Because you get to the point where you don't care about where you stand with him or her, because you know where they stand with you. How about that one? Right? When you know where the narcissist stands with you, that's another way of expressing what you're experiencing, because you really don't have to say anything. It's in your deeds, it's in your actions. And the narcissist probably won't even care about, they may not even notice that you are very clear. You're crystal clear on where they stand with you. You're not worried about where you stand with them. See how that works? It's very powerful. So getting down to the root cause, right, of why you may be fearing using your voice goes hand in hand with your fear of disapproval from a narcissist. Do you want to please them so much that you will just swallow back what you want to say? Not saying being confrontational, right? Because a person could be diplomatic about when they don't like something, right? They can express what they don't like, right, without putting anybody on a defense. But narcissists tend to act like they are offended a lot, right? That's another trick. They act like they offended. And that's all to get you to what? Dwarf in the relationship. Be quiet. Just take it. Right? All right. So, are you afraid of disapproval? Okay. Something really to think about. And again, when you want to express yourself, it's not about if the narcissist agrees with what you're talking about or not. It's about you vocalizing, expressing what you're experiencing. Okay, focus, clarity, and conviction can all help to build confidence and giving voice to your experiences. I kind of went over that already. That's why I didn't want to get ahead of myself. But yeah. Okay, did you know? Here's another critical question. Did you know that using your voice is an expression of your identity? How is that? Well, when you are expressing what you're experiencing, that means that you're interchanging that with somebody. They're expressing things about themselves to you. So you're open to get to being known, not just to know somebody. So it's a nice interchange right there. You know, it's like you're getting to know somebody and they're getting to know you too. Nice interchange. With a narcissist, like I said, that don't happen. Okay? They're too busy trying to control. They don't want the connection. Okay? Matter of fact, to a lot of narcissists, that seems to be very scary. They don't want the connection. And guess what? Some narcissists are secretly jealous to see that you are able to connect. See, you're about the connection, perhaps, right? Or more so than what they are. They are. I'm telling you, some narcissists, they are very jealous of your, having the ability to connect. But not only that, to make friends, to have friends. They may have a larger circle than you, for instance. But guess what? Narcissists tend to have superficial relationships. You may have a smaller circle of friends, but guess what? You guys are more genuine. It's a deeper connection. You can call that person up, say maybe at midnight when you need something, okay? Or when you just need a listening ear and they're there, okay? So you just never know. A narcissist, they often have a big crowd, they often have a lot of people, but their relationships tend to be not only unhealthy, right? But they tend to be superficial, which also can make it unhealthy at times. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes if you don't really want a deep relationship with a narcissist, right? You can just have fun. Okay? Now, I'm not making light of what you've gone through. I'm not making light of what I've gone through. I'm just simply saying how some narcissists, you already know what they're good for. And again, that shows you know exactly where they stand with you. That's a person you can party with. That's a person you may go to the club with. That's a person that, they're a good time, right? Whether this is a romantic relationship, a friendship, an associate, whatever. You already know. You keep them at a distance. You already know where that narcissist stands with you. You're not trying to figure out where you stand with them. And again, that's much more powerful, right? So don't be afraid to start using your voice. Just take baby steps, practice. Sometimes, if you, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I had some tools for y'all, but I will say this. If you, practice in front of a mirror, that can help you to become a little bit comfortable, right? A little bit more comfortable with being vocal. Because if you just try to, do this in front of a narcissist and you're not accustomed to doing that, okay, you might trip up a little bit, but that's still some progress. So kudos. Some of you have actually done this because sometimes when you hold things in for a long time and then you want to express it, it can be a little difficult. You may be shaking, you may be trembling, you're not going to feel very confident. But practice, like they say, practice makes perfect. But I just say, practice, practice. Okay, so when you focus and when you have clarity and when you have conviction, what does all that mean? That means that you are clear on certain things because you've gone inside, you've journaled, you've done some things, right? You get quiet, you meditate, you pray or whatever, you spend some time. So you're clear on things. You have clarity. You're clear about what you want to manifest in your life. You're clear about what kind of relationships you may want to have. You're clear about who you are. You're focused on what? Thriving forward. You're focused on making sure that your overall well being is on point. Okay? It's not about the narcissist anymore. This is about you. Where are you? Right? So when you're focused and you have clarity, this goes right into you're having conviction. What the heck do you really care about? Right? What's on your priority list in your life? You have children? Are you married? Do you have a significant other? Are you, are you engaged? Is there some special people? Are there special people in your life? Okay, because they kind of count on you too. You may count on them, but they probably count on you too. So when you are feeling better, guess what? They benefit. Okay? So being focused and clear and having conviction is very powerful because this will naturally give you the boost of confidence you need to use your voice. Okay? You're not going to be, off in the corner somewhere, mousing around your life, being afraid. See, the narcissist wants you that way, right? But they don't care about getting to know you or finding out what's hurting you or what you've gone through, or they really don't seem to care about the connection, because these things are what it takes to connect with other people when you're able to share what's going on with you. But of course, this is going to take trust. When you think about being in a narcissistic relationship, isn't that one of the first things that's violated? Trust. Okay, so the narcissist already out the gate, they don't trust. Okay, so just something to think about. Okay, so that's the I think that was the second critical question that I asked about. Did you know that using your voice is an expression of your identity? And it actually is. Okay. All right. So part three. Right, that was part two. Okay, part three. Signs of growth and acceptance. Okay, facing the reality and taking off the rose colored glasses. Okay, so sometimes that can be very scary. Right there. Okay, what am I taking off the rose colored glasses for? Some people prefer to keep them on. Not just because it matches their outfit, maybe, right? But because they're more comfortable. Okay, they're accustomed to not using their voice. They're comfortable with being lost in the sauce. Okay, that is it. Hey, some people may not like this. Some people may cringe because they were that person. Okay, so when a person starts to accept that they're outgrowing the narcissist relationship, at first it's scary because they're very familiar with having that relationship. Okay, so um, I want you guys to go ahead and please like and or share this stream. Just want to remind you guys of that. I so appreciate everybody being here. Okay, so signs of growth and acceptance. Signs number one, you do not feel emotionally safe. Once you start to realize that you're not emotionally safe with a narcissist, you're probably going to have a huge reality check, a huge wake up call, because it's definitely going to feel scary. Because it's probably going to feel like the rug has been pulled out, or the floor has disappeared, or the ground has disappeared from up underneath you, because now you're reaching for what? Something to hold on to. Because in that moment, when you realize you are not emotionally safe, right, you're going to feel like you don't have any stability. You don't have anything to hold on to. I'm saying you're not stable, but you don't have anything to hold on to. That narcissist relationship, you cannot hold on to. It's not solid. It's not stable. Okay, that's very scary. But then when you're not using your voice, you may feel a lack of confidence to talk to somebody about that. Who do you talk to about that? Once you really, once that reality hits that you don't have that narcissist the way you want him or her, you don't have that narcissist relationship the way you want it. Because, first of all, you're lost in the sauce. Okay? That relationship, you may feel like you're drowning in it. You may feel like that is the bane of your very existence. The narcissist may be living vicariously through you. If this is a narcissistic mom, that probably goes double. Okay? So once you find out that the narcissist is not emotionally safe for you, you're going to have to make some choices. Okay? And I'm not trying to be harsh when I say this, but just speaking from experience. You're going to have to make some choices, because that narcissist is not going to be on board for this new you. Now you're using your voice. Perhaps you have a support base now. Using your voice can be a huge part of your support base. Okay? But the narcissist is not going to be on board for this new you. So once that reality hits you, that that narcissist relationship is not safe for you, then you're going to have to make some changes. Okay, so emotional safety can be important in order to obtain trust. Yeah, that part. But the narcissist has already violated your trust, perhaps several times. Perhaps you have lost count. Okay, so just remember, this goes with any relationship. You're going to have to feel some. It's going to have to be some stability. There's going to have to be some safety, even when it pertains to your support base. Just imagine going to. Some of you don't have to imagine this. Okay, I have a couple of horror stories myself about going to counselors that just don't match, right? Okay, so imagine going to a counselor, and to your horror, they're almost identical to your narcissist in behavior. Right. So that's the same thing as not having emotional safety in a relationship. You're walking on eggshells. It's almost like you can trip over a booby trap at any time. You're not certain. It's hard to relax. There may be social anxiety. You may be having panic attacks, other complex post traumatic stress um, symptoms, complex PTSD symptoms. You be having all of those things perhaps. But when it comes down to the narcissist relationship, a person's overall health is compromised anyway. Okay? But when they find out that they don't have any emotional stability in the relationship with a narcissist, that can be very, it just feel like you're floating around. It may feel surreal. It may feel like a twilight zone. Because with a narcissist, there's not going to be a lot of stability anyway. Okay, they don't even take responsibility for half of the things that they do or say or think or feel, the choices they make. They tend to throw it off on everybody else. But when you're feeling anxious, right, and you're feeling just like you don't really have anything to hold on to, it's very easy to start to believe, unfortunately, what the narcissist is saying. When they're pulling a telekinesis, for instance, then they're gaslighting. Okay? And therefore, that may mean that the narcissist is more than likely telling all these fantasies, these lies. Unfortunately, some victims, some of those who are in the narcissist relationship, they're going to want to believe those things. Why? Because they don't feel emotionally safe and they want to. They want some stability. They want the validation. They want the love. They want the respect. So, unfortunately, the narcissist will play on that and they will exploit. Once a person may, if they decide to express, the narcissist will get busy exploiting. So, emotional safety is very important. It's almost like telling the narcissist your the most intimate details of yourself, and they go out and they just blast it to the world. They go on social media and they may go viral, but you're embarrassed. You just want to go hide up under a rock or something, right? Because the narcissist has betrayed your trust. They have violated your trust. They have perhaps betrayed you in other ways. That's also reflective of there not being any emotional stability in that relationship. The narcissist doesn't emotionally regulate anyway. They lack empathy. So it all adds up. The narcissist relationship lacks emotional security or emotional stability, period. So it's going to be hard for a person to feel safe in that relationship. But it can be very scary once that reality hits. Sign number 2, give yourself permission. When you start to give yourself permission to say no, this one is going to be probably really tough for a lot of people because the narcissist often does not take no for an answer. And how do you know that? They start delivering the silent treatment. And I went over already what the ultimate silent treatment is. Okay, so they start working on the person anyway. Yeah, mentally, emotionally, sometimes even financially. A person may be embarrassed to even let anyone know that they were in a narcissist relationship. Some people have been in several narcissist relationships. Okay, so giving yourself permission to say no. Give yourself permission to experience more positive and healthy relationships with others that you resonate with. Okay, you vibe with them. Being on the same vibe, sharing values and principles are key to having a better experience with people, in general. Okay, again, speaking from experience, I am so happy to say that I have learned, right? Really at an early age, okay? I was able to have positive relationships with people. Some relationships, okay, not so good. But guess what? I chose to learn from those experiences. I'm not telling you all this because I want y'all to think I'm perfect and all that. I'm far from it, right? But I will tell you this, from all of my relationships, past to present, right? I chose to learn from those relationships. Ups, downs, good, bad, okay, whatever. I chose to learn from it, and I still choose to learn. So I'm the type of person that's like, I live and let live. Okay, you do you, I'm gonna do me. But I have met some people, right? They weren't like that. And it goes back to what I was talking about, your principles. Do you know what your principles, your values are, your standards? Okay, all of that goes to using your voice. Because when you start vocalizing that, people are going to learn how to treat you. People are going to learn more about you. It's a way that you are expressing your entire essence, yourself. Who are you? Where are you? Do you know where you've been? Where are you going? All of that goes into using your voice. Okay, so I have learned from past relationships and current relationships. It is best to respect and accept that everybody, like myself, is on a journey called life, has a story, right? And their life has purpose. Okay? Everybody has a story. Everyone's life has purpose. I don't have to agree with what their purpose is, and vice versa. Okay? They don't have to agree with they don't have to like it. They don't have to agree with it. Right? And I've learned a long time ago, don't judge anybody else's journey. You don't know what they have to go through. I don't know what I have to go through, right? And whatever. But I've learned to just learn from the walks of life, right? Just learn from it. Everyone is not going to value the same thing. Everybody's not going to have the same principles, right? And I've learned this along my journey thus far. And I have to tell you, I've met some pretty amazing people thus far in my life, right? I'm looking forward to meeting more. But I will say that I am so glad that I was exposed to positive relationships, healthy relationships. So that gave me the contrast, right? The apples and the oranges. So those relationships that weren't very pleasant, I could compare it to relationships that were. Okay? And even right now, same thing. Learning, just hands off. Everybody's not going to believe the same thing that I believe, and vice versa. And being okay with that. Like I said, I've met people that they're not okay with that. Like, for instance, a narcissist does not like to hear anybody else's point of view. They usually cannot accept other people having a different point of view than theirs. But I can tell you, ever since, like, I can think all the way back to my childhood, I've been pretty open about that. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to see things the way I do, but we can still have a great relationship. Now, some people, they have an issue with that. They like the carbon copy or the conveyor belt type of thing. Everybody's the same. Everybody's supposed to be the same. There's not supposed to be anyone different. But I don't know about you guys, but we live in a world where people are embracing being different. Okay? They're embracing it more often. It wasn't always like that, but there are some people who do not, they don't accept that everybody does not view everything the same way. A narcissist doesn't like change. A narcissist often doesn't accept viewpoints that are different from his or hers, right? They often do not accept that. They don't embrace different, right? Anything that's different is a threat. It's a perceived threat, especially to their false self-images. So when you start to use your voice and you are speaking and it may not reflect what the narcissist believes, then they may feel threatened. Their false self-images may feel threatened For instance, one of the false self images a narcissist has is that of a victim. When you start to use your voice and you are expressing what you have experienced in that relationship with him or her, well, then they may not come off looking like a victim. See, they may come off looking like the perpetrator because you're using your voice, and maybe some other people are chiming in and everyone's telling the truth. Therefore, the narcissist is exposed. Yeah, just think about that for a minute, right? So when the narcissist is exposed, and because everyone is speaking, they're using their voice, and what they're saying doesn't reflect the narcissist's perception of their reality, which is that they are a victim. Everybody is against them, right? No, but the bottom line is what the reality is that they are perpetrating certain things in the relationship that's causing damages, right? But on the outside looking in, some people may believe the narcissist. But when enough people start to vocalize or express what they have been experiencing, then not only are other people who may not be aware of narcissism or narcissist relationships or what it's like to be in one, they're now aware of it because people like you, like me, and others, right, who have experienced this, they're using their voice. They're vocal about it. Okay, I feel like I'm getting long-winded here, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. All right. Sign number 3, identifying how you relate to others and how they relate to you. So now you're more cognizant of that. You're more aware of it. Okay. Instead of internalizing everything, you're recognizing it. Okay. And then you're looking at where the narcissist stands with you instead of the other way around. Okay, you don't care about where you stand with them. Now, in certain situations, I get it, especially if this is job related or if this is the workforce. You may care about where you stand with the narcissist because you want your money, right? You want your pay, you want your paycheck. Okay, I get it, right? But this goes double in a personal relationship because see, you have a lot of say in that. You don't have to spend time with a narcissist unless you really want to. But unfortunately, narcissists, they will often groom individuals, especially children. They will groom them to think, behave, and perhaps even feel certain emotions. Whereas then the person, they're pleasing the narcissist and they may feel a strong sense of obligation to do so. Therefore, what consists of that is them not using their voice. Okay, that's a part of it. That's part of the imaginary contract that narcissists often draw up for people. Okay, and what is the clause? What is the fine print of the imaginary contract? Don't use your voice. Sit down, shut up, and take it. But a lot of people don't know about that because they don't even know there's a contract. It's an imaginary contract. But anyway, identifying how you relate to others and how they relate to you. This can help determine if you like to continue to invest time, energy, and focus on the relationship. Do you really want to continue to invest in a narcissist relationship? And really, that's a critical question that I answer for myself. All these critical questions only you can answer, of course. Okay, we can talk to other people that we trust, right? But again, a lot of people have trust issues. Let's not even sugarcoat it. But when you trust yourself and you start to become your best problem solver, not your only problem solver, right? Your best one. And that's also a sign of you using your voice, okay? Because you're more aware of what's going on with you. You're more aware of how you're experiencing that relationship. And maybe you're gaining confidence on using your voice or using your voice more often about this, right? So, would you like to continue to invest time? Well, the narcissist, most of the time, may act like they don't have time for you or anyone else, right? Would you like to continue to invest your energy? Okay. In other words, what's pleasing the narcissist? Are you pleased? Do they care about? Are they asking you? How you feeling? What's going on with you? And even if they do, is it because they are sincere, or is it because they're buttering you up, or they're setting you up, or they're baiting you for something else? Okay. So would you like to focus on that relationship? Okay, so it's just something to think about because when you think about a narcissist relationship, it doesn't have stability, right? And they're not emotionally safe. And sometimes, due to certain choices that narcissists make, they may actually cause you to go into debt financially. Okay, because most of the time, narcissists they have a stash somewhere, but they want you to think that they're poor. Again, one of their false self images, victim. They're asking you for money, and they may promise to pay you back, but they don't pay you back, right? You going into debt. Come to find out, they got plenty of money stashed away that they didn't tell you about. Okay, so I'm bringing all that up to say that when you really look at the narcissist relationship, it is chronically dysfunctional. It can be volatile, right? But very often, when people do not use their voice about this, right? When they don't use their voice, they can get lost in the sauce of that relationship. And then their confidence are going way down to even use the voice. This is why some people who have been involved with narcissists, even after the relationship is over, they're still not very vocal about what they have experienced. They're not, I mean, just at all. They may be, sadly, some people have vowed to take this to their grave. And I just think, uh, I just really think that's so sad. But some people have vowed to actually take their experience, to their grave. And some people may even say, well, gosh, the narcissist won. The narcissist won. And I don't know about you guys, but that sounds horrible. But that ties right into not, being vocal about what you're experiencing. So, okay, not only did you survive, but you thrived past the relationship. You're thriving, actually. I'll put it like that. I'm thriving. Okay, like I said, I've had relationships that weren't very positive, but thank goodness I've experienced relationships that are the opposite. Okay, and I can go all the way back to my childhood. There are some people right now that I can remember in my childhood. They were like little earth angels to me. So wherever they are, I hope they're doing well today if they're still with us. Some people I've lost contact with, but when you grow up, that's what happens sometimes. But yeah, thank goodness I've had some relationships that are positive. But some people may say, well, gosh, I haven't had any relationships that are positive. I can't remember any. And I would have to say that I think they're exaggerating a bit because most of the time I think we all have at least one great relationship in our lifetime. Okay? And you know, I think we usually have that. And all relationships to me are opportunities to learn, not only about myself, but other people. And some people we're going to be able to get along with, and some people we won't. But guess what? I say learn from it all. Just learn from it all. Okay? So just remember, not only did you survive narcissism, but now you're thriving. And the choice is yours, actually. Some people may feel like they're not thriving right now because they're still in the relationship. But this does not mean that you cannot practice using your voice. Because a lot of you know, this is something else I often say in my videos on the Luminousz Ztarr channel. And that is, it starts in the mind, not the behind. Do not wait for the narcissist to change their mind or their heart, about you. Don't wait, okay, for them to give you permission to use your voice. They're not going to give you permission to use your voice because that goes totally against what they're trying to get, and that is the source supply. Now, if you do use your voice, they want it to be to their benefit, right? To praise them, to put them up on a pedestal. Okay, so I want to leave that with you guys. And don't forget, you have already gone through an ordeal, right? You've gone through it. You've gone through it already. You don't need to look back. You don't need to continue to focus on narcissists. They're not, more than likely, they're not focused on you. Not in a way. where it will perhaps add to the quality of your life. Maybe they're focused on you or someone else because they're trying to get something, right? Narcissists often have many pawns in the game. They often don't have a problem with gaining at the expenses of others. Okay? So I just want to go ahead and leave that with you guys. And let me see if there was something I wanted to see if I can find it. I had something I wanted to bring up for you guys. Maybe I forgot to add it to my slide. I know I didn't go over the tools yet, but the list of tools, but really throughout the slide, I've been giving a few tools. So I decided to go with it that way. Okay. I know a lot of you guys know who watch me. I usually like to go through the tools, but I decided to just kind of wing it this time. So in the slide there, I did give several tools. So, but there was something else. Gosh, I can't find it, y'all. I think I forgot to add it. Maybe I'll do it on the next live stream. There was something there was an article that I wanted to share with you guys. I'll try to remember it for the next live stream. Yeah, I don't have it. I'm looking for it, but I don't see it. Okay, guys, I'm Cassandra, and I certainly hope you guys will take care of yourself as well as each other. And just one more thing I want to leave you with you guys. Remember that your life does have purpose. Okay, I know the narcissists, they say a lot of crappy things sometimes. Sometimes they do things and it may make you feel down, right? But I want to remind you guys of something, that every life has purpose. Everybody has a story. Okay, we're all on this journey called life. I look at life as a gift, regardless of its challenges. And, just like a luminous star, right? It's in the darkness, and no matter how dark it gets, right? You can still shine. You can get your glow on. Okay, now the narcissist, you ask a narcissist, they don't want anybody to outshine him or her. But guess what? Once you start to use your voice, everybody else will start to see, okay, that you are somebody who gets their glow on. You have your shine as well. You contribute to this world as well. Okay, now I don't want to get all preachy and long winded, but I just want you guys to know something. You do count. Okay, you count. And regardless of what the narcissist says, your life does have purpose. Okay, so until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Mwah. All right.